somebody that I saw you tweeting about. I hadn't listened to the album yet, so I went in with high expectations. This is Central C, another British rapper, and you were tweeting about him for a good reason. It seems like you felt like this album mixtape, whatever it is,
Yeah,
23, was a pretty strong showing for him. Is that right?
that is right. Yeah, the second Central C mixtape, second in less than a year. Central C only been kicking it for like less than 2 years total, but has really blown up out of West London. Huge chart presence over in the UK, just coming off a bunch of Brit Award nominations, and is the face of UK drill right now, just a rapidly ascending force. And now we have that second mixtape from him. Both of these are self-released too, which is pretty cool to see. So he's definitely making the bag here. But two mixtapes in, I think it's the hype is definitely warranted because he's just, I think, just bringing a really high quality to a scene that's been getting a lot of attention already. So the fact that he's standing out, I think, really speaks to something.
I felt like this album, while not my favorite album, uh, certainly had some really high moments, and especially it lost a little bit of momentum for me in the middle, but the beginning and the ending I felt like had some really strong stretches. And what I think impressed me more was Central C's ability to stay true to that drill sound that you talked about, but also kind of make it sound a little more poppy, a little bit more
Mm.
like radio friendly sounding. So I just was pretty impressed, especially for someone that this is only their second mixtape. Tell me about the things that really impressed you most on this.
Yeah, well, I think even like going back to that first mixtape, Wild West, some of the production choices are really cool because like it's still obviously like drill music. And I think like Central C's flow, his performance is really consistent as as drill hip hop goes. But sometimes the production can, I think, stand out in unique ways. Like back on Wild West, Loading 20's got a lot of attention, one of his first singles for like really noticeable horns within drill music. Obviously, we know drill music, dark, gloomy, ominous sound is what you think of for like the brand of drill production. But I think he's kind of finding a way to bring something new to it in terms of the sound. Young Chenks is the producer who made 9 of the 15 tracks off 23. Seems to have a nice creative cohesion going on there. Most famously, of course, would be Obsessed with You, his biggest hit to date, which was the lead single up for this 23 tape. And of course, samples Pink Pantheress's Just For Me. Pink Pantheress, of course, gigantic TikTok artist, gigantic star in 2021. So it makes sense that Obsessed with You using that sample would be successful as well. And that also speaks to like the more pop leaning you can get from someone still operating in that drill space. Um, Retail Therapy on this new tape also like really
Yes.
noticeable saxophone
Mhm.
use within that beat. So I think there's just lots of cool flourishes going on here, and I think if Central C can continue to grow with his music, I mean, obviously there's so much to like already. If he can continue to grow his individual performances on top of that, like clearly the production, clearly the sonic ideas are already here. So I would expect lots of continued growth because obviously there's so much attention on him already. That he's going to get a lot of support, and I'm sure the labels are trying to knock down his door at this point, but he hasn't bitten yet. So he's taking his time, which is cool. But I think there's a lot of things to like song to song. I agree. Like there's some moments in the middle where I'm like, okay, yeah, this is just like another song I just heard. But overall, there's just a lot of, I think, positive qualities here.
Definitely. You mentioned two of the tracks I was referring to when I was talking about that more like poppy sound, retail therapy for sure. And obviously obsessed with you. But Terminal 5, right before Obsessed with You, I think also has that like those horns that just feel like something you could hear on almost any radio station in the country. Also like the gunshot sounds put in there just made me laugh because I just thought it was like a kind of a throwback, like a throwback sound to throw in there for rap. But also, I mean, his willingness to try things like Eurovision,
Yeah,
bringing in some non English speaking people to be on the track, I thought was
right.
interesting, and it didn't feel like super out of place, even though it definitely stood out, which I thought was a testament to him because that song could have felt very much like, oh, I'm just gonna put this non English speaking track out there just to kind of like see how it goes, but it felt like it still belonged. So I thought that was pretty interesting. What did you think of that track?
Yeah, no, I think it's really cool just for that reason. Like looking at the track list, I'm like, okay, there's the Posse Cut. Don't recognize any of these names, and you listen to it, and you're like, oh wait, the reason I don't recognize any of these names is because they're not British rappers either.
Mhm.
Italian, Spanish, I think, elsewhere in Europe primarily. Really cool to see something like that. Obviously, a great look for all those guys too. Yeah, it's just an inspired thing to do. Really cool. Um, I mean, even something else like Habib, the first track has a music video. In that music video, he's like hiking and like on top of mountains and shit. I'm like, you know what? This is also really fucking great for a visual. Gotta be honest. It's simple yet effective. Uh, yeah, I think honestly one of my favorite songs though, just kind of a straight drill joint. Straight back to it, man. Something about the British accent, straight back to it. It just sounds so good on that hook, which is really catchy. So
Yeah, that also has a pretty classic like music video for a rapper, but it still looks pretty awesome. So
mhm,
I agree. Definitely one of the standout tracks to me as well.
yeah,
Drill when it hits, it really just fucking hits, man.
yep, yeah. I mean,
Any
the
other
last
standouts?
I just shout out the last track, End of the Beginning, co-written and co-produced by Dave, arguably the biggest UK rapper right now. Obviously, that's a really meaningful cosign. But yeah, I'd say Central C, man, uh, get on board because they're already on board in the UK. So we just gotta see where it goes now because the bona fides are here. They're established.
We'll be adding a track or two to our Nowstalgia Best of 2022 playlist. Follow that on Spotify.